Hello everyone, it's Jenna Ryan with SelfLoveU. Thank you for listening to my video today. I have some really good information for you guys. I want to talk about setting boundaries for the negative projections of others. If you are a people pleaser, if you are someone who doesn't have a self, doesn't have an identity, if you can become like a sponge. You can absorb the negative projections of others because you do not know who you are. We will be discussing on this channel how to figure out who you are and how to heal that lack of knowledge of who you truly are, because you are a fabulous person. You just may not understand it yet. You may not know it, but you are. So what we want to talk about today is setting boundaries against the projections of others. In relationship, when you're dealing with other people, if the person is not dealing with their own negative emotion, they may tend to project that onto you. I had someone tell me once that all relationships are projections because it's all what's going on within the inside of you, that you see what you are. So there can be times in your life where people are coming to you and telling you things about yourself which do not line up with who you are, but because you're unaware of who you are and you don't take up for yourself, you actually internalize their view of you. And this can cause a lot of emotional pain, and it can cause it'll take you off your path and keep you from being happy and keep you from being fulfilled because you're actually swallowing and absorbing the negative projections of other people. So it's very important to notice, instead of reacting to someone who is, calling you crazy, saying, should you get a therapist? Should we do something about this because you're acting crazy? It's very important to listen to your gut. And your gut, if you feel a sense of anger and reaction, there's a difference between reactivity and anger. Anger is something that's there to protect you, to show you that you need to set a boundary. A trigger is more where you're going wild, like, rah, and you turn into a tantrum where you just go nuts, just like, and it's irrational. But anger is where you're in your body, you're in yourself, and you're like, that makes me so mad. I am not, just because I'm setting a boundary here does not mean that I need a therapist. Come on now. But, there was a time in my life where if someone had said that, I would have automatically said, oh, you're right. I probably do. I need a therapist. You're right. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I did that. One of those, I'm sorry. I'm a doormat. You're right. Everything, what other people would pour onto me, I would actually receive and believe and try to make corrections in myself to not be what they say I am. But we have to remember that just because someone says something about you does not make it true. In fact, if if it is true, then you might want to look into it. But most of the people that I talk to in my coaching, and me included in my own personal work, most of the time, a simple boundary really could nip it in the bud. You could nip things in the bud. First of all, no one should be telling you need a therapist in the middle of an argument. Okay, that's a red flag. That's a red flag, not against the person, but it's a red flag for you to stand up for yourself and set a boundary. And you can say things like, I hear you that you're thinking that, I need a therapist. However, I'm setting a boundary right now, and any therapist that I've ever talked to would support me in this boundary that I'm setting. So, and it's, if you're with a good person, if you're with someone who's healthy, they're going to take that information and they're going to go, oh, okay, that didn't work. I mean, anybody will try to put one over on you if you are a doormat. Even the sweetest person in the world will gain power if you do not hold on to your boundaries. So I'm not even talking about toxic people. If we want to talk about toxic people, generally speaking, there's not a boundary in the world that's going to stop a toxic person. So it's better to just no contact, gray rock, get out of there, and go and deal with people that are human, that can respond in a healthy, non-toxic way. And they may, they may say things at times that, they may project on times that you need to set a boundary about. And that's what I'm talking about. So it's very important, first of all, not to internalize the negative projections of others, but rather to take a step back and to analyze, okay, what is going on? What is the message I'm being sent here with this action, inaction, with these words, with this accusation that, if someone says, you don't even care about what I just said, well, how do you know if I care? You're not in my body. I'm not going to receive that because I'm an empathetic person and I care, and I will not receive that I don't care because I do care, and that's why I'm here. See what I'm saying? You're not allowed. And so whereas before I got my sense of self, before I differentiated and learned to love myself, I might have been like, oh, he thinks I don't care. I've got to do something to show him that I care. I've got to do more. I don't care. I'm such a bad person. I don't care. He said I don't care. He's probably right. Instead of saying, excuse me, I think I care. I think I folded your laundry. I think I, did this. I think I did, you can actually show proof that I'm a caring person. And it's quite interesting to watch, to stand up for yourself, to debate the topic. You're saying I don't care, and you don't want to make a huge argument about it, but you do want to give pushback. If someone tells you you don't care, that's one example of it could come out in myriad ways. I'm just saying, don't let people attack you, even well-meaning people. Don't let people say things about you without giving your 2 cents and saying, yeah, I do care. I care very much. I'm just trying to work this out with you. So check how you're feeling. If someone says something about you, like you don't care or you are selfish, check how it makes you feel when they say that. And remember, there's a difference between anger, that anger is something that is alerting you that your boundaries are being violated. Learn the difference between a trigger and an anger. An anger, which is a natural emotion. A trigger is when you're triggered back to your past and childhood from trauma, and you end up dissociating back to childhood, and you end up reacting, overreacting. But anger is actually healthy, and it helps you to go, wait a minute, there's something here that's off. I need to take a step back, maybe get my journal out, maybe write down what just happened, and really take a step back and experience your emotion of anger, okay? Instead of lashing out, but experience your emotion and figure out what was said that made you feel angry, and what can you say to protect yourself from receiving the negative projection, from internalizing it, and from overcompensating for the negative projection, so that you can, instead of overcompensating, you can nip it in the bud and say, you know what, I do care. I do this, this, and this. I love you, da-da-da-da-da. I'm a wonderful person. I've tried. I'm not perfect, but I do what I can. And then the other person, and then you can move on from there instead of overcompensating. And you can make a plan for how you're going to convey this information, not through indirect methods, but really directly, and say, hey, when you say, I don't care, it makes me feel hurt because I do care. It makes me feel angry because I do care. And I show I care in all of these ways. You don't let anything slide necessarily, especially as you're really developing yourself and your sense of self in relationships, you really need to let people know, I'm not going to just take all this on. I'm not going to take on all of these projections. This is not something I'm going to receive. And I love you, but I care too. And I'm not going to be the person who doesn't care. I'm not going to be the person who's anything, any labels that anybody puts on me. And learning to argue and take up for yourself is beautiful once you learn the process and you're not being triggered all the time. So you have to heal from your triggers, and that's a whole nother audio. You may want to know, someone may say you don't care. You may want to take some time and see exactly, what do you mean by that? What am I doing that would and I'm using care as an example, but what am I doing that would show I don't care? And that, because you may want to look into yourself and see if you are aligning with your own values. And if you know that you are aligning with your own values and you can bring proof to the table that you are, then it's very important just to stand up for yourself and say, no, that's not me. I care. I show I care. I'm sensitive here, and I'm not going to overcompensate because someone says I don't care. I'm not going to overcompensate because someone says I'm being selfish, because anybody can spew anything out about you at the moment. And they may be reacting to something that happened to them when they were 12 years old or 5 years old. They may be sending you mail that belongs to someone else. So it's very important that you remind whoever you're talking to, whether it be a family member, a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, hey, I'm me, and this is 2021, and I care, and this is what I've done, and this is what I do, and I care. I'm listening right now. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be sitting here, standing here, talking, arguing, rolling up my sleeves, and working through this. That's not someone who doesn't care, something that someone who doesn't care does. Someone who doesn't care would just go and do their own thing and not talk to anyone at all. Okay. So I'm just trying to get it across. So you need to gather your thoughts, step away, and see where, if you've been attacked, if someone has been upset with you and they had a bad day, you need to, instead of just acting on what they say about you, you have to stop and take up for yourself and remember that you are a caring person, or that you've done a lot of things that are not selfish, that you have empathy, that you have a heart, and not in a curt way, but just a very calm, neutral way you're taking up for yourself. And if the information that they're conveying to you is not true, a lot of times I used to be like, oh my God, I don't know if it's true or not. Are they right? Maybe I am. Maybe I am an uncaring person, for example. And then I would be tossing it back and forth and back and forth. Well, you can almost know, if you're sitting there tossing that back and forth, that there's a boundary somewhere that needs to be set, that there's a need within you that needs to be met. Anything that's tossing back and forth like that about you, where you're questioning yourself, is about a need, or is about a boundary that's been crossed, or a boundary that needs to be set. Something needs to be done. It means you need to take action. If you're going into that shame spiral, you need to take action to self-talk your way out of the shame spiral. Remind yourself all the ways that you're not what this person has labeled you as, and move forward with the argument or your position from a place of power, that you know who you are, and you're not going to just fold and absorb the negative projections of anyone at any time, basically. Unless you're in prison and the prison guard yells at you because he's in a bad mood, well, then you better shut up. But I'm just talking about, in normal everyday relationships. Nip all the negative projections and gaslighting of others that they make about your essence in the bud. Do not internalize other people's vision of you, because everyone is projecting in their relationships much of the time. So just watch out for labels. Watch out when people try to accuse you of doing things that just stop all accusations. Just go, oh, I'll be right back. And then go in your little quiet corner and get your journal out and go, okay, I was just accused of being ratchet. Am I ratchet? Am I horrible? Am I this? Instead of absorbing, internalizing, agreeing, and then trying to be better. Or instead of getting angry for the person who's doing this to you, because it can really help your relationships if you're able to say, no, that would be incorrect because, and I'm telling you all of this to learn how to connect, because if you can set boundaries about who you are and what other people are trying to say that you are, and you're able to put a stop to things that are not you, then you can actually stand and be a part of a relationship rather than to fold and become a doormat and become whatever they say you are, then you think you are, and then you tussle it in your mind back and forth and worry about it and have anxiety about it. And you don't even remind yourself, oh my gosh, I do care. A person that doesn't care doesn't do this, and this. So you're not taking up for yourself. You're just laying down. And that was taught in childhood, how to just accept whatever other people say about you and to try to overcome it and try so hard to please and try so hard to get love, no matter what anyone says about you, believing it, because that's what a child does. A child doesn't really have the cognitive resources to be able to give a good defense. They haven't lived a life. They can't say, wait a minute, don't you know about this, and this? But you can. You're an adult. And so now that you're an adult in your own body, you can stand up for yourself and remind whomever is attacking you or putting projections on you, basically projecting their own negative stuff that they don't want to deal with, their own insecurities, their own past triggers, whatever, onto you. Then you can stand up in real time and go, that's not me. I love you, but that's not me. And that is if you love them. If you don't love them, you can still say that's not me. But generally, you don't want to be hanging around people that don't love you. You want to kind of get away from those people. Okay? So that is your very complex audio for today. I hope it's helpful. I know that my voice will get to those people that really need to hear this today, because I know that I've gone through a lot in the past month, and there have been some really great videos out there that really spoke to me directly and helped me to get to a place where I'm able to move forward. And I hope this does the same for you. I'm Jenna Ryan, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.